kind of grew up around it. I can blame my uncle. My uncle was a crew member on the Such Crust out of Detroit back in the late 40s, and worked on it up until 50, and early 51 he passed away, and my dad took his spot in the crew in 51 in Seattle. I grew up in Seattle just before I was even born, and my dad took his spot on the crew back then, 51, when they came out to Seattle. And then after that, he kind of quit getting involved in it, but we always went to the races every year. Ever since I wasn't even a year old, we just family pack up and go to the boat races. That's what you did. That's what everybody did, you know. So we just kind of got into it, and then I had an older brother that started doing it back late 60s, and he worked on Beering Lady. And he came back here with it a few times, and then he ended up working on Notre Dame, Value Mart, Lincoln Thrift, Sunny Jim, a lot of different boats back there. He did some stuff on and off for Bernie when he ran like the Natural Light and a few things like that. And then it was about 84, I think it was, or late after the 84 season when Bernie bought out the late All-Star deal. My brother went down to Texas and drove it up here. And drove it up to Seattle for Bernie, and they hired Ronnie Brown, and my brother had known him, and I ended up going to work for him. Just was out of high school, just parts runner, cleaning shop, doing whatever, and that lasted about a month, and they put me to work in the shop. I was more valuable there than out running around, so just kind of went from there. I was with those guys through the 90 season, and 92 and 3, or 92, 1 and 2, I was on the Winston Eagle disc boat, actually when it was the Winston Eagle back then, after Steve Woomer bought it. This had been originally Circus, and then let's see, 93, 4, and 5. I was on the T Plus boat here, the 2-wing, which there, yeah, when Steve Day was driving that, we were pretty successful with that. It was a lot of fun. And then I did a little bit of stuff for Fred Leland once in a while. We ran the second boat, and I did come back and run one season with that deal, the 99 deal, when we had steel on it, a few things back. What was that, 98? Something like that, and got out of it a little bit, and then Tim Gregory came along and bought all this stuff up, and whenever he would run two boats, they'd call me up, and I'd come back and run the second boat for him. So I ended up running this boat for Tim for a number of years. There, when we had the two Weber brothers driving, and my brother had moved to Vegas and was working on, another brother was back there working on it. But whenever they ran two boats, I ended up come running the second boat for them, and just, so we do part year with them, and it was fun, just kind of still built parts, and I was back in Seattle. Just had a normal job, but I was still doing it for fun now and then. Just a mechanic. I mean, I had no formal training when I started working on it. I just jumped in and didn't know I couldn't do it, so I did it anyway. Pretty soon I was building gearboxes and motors and doing all the fiberglass work and parts and pieces, and then started doing machine work and welding, and just learned as I went. It's really gotten better. I mean, they were, you know, we all know how dangerous these used to be. The first boat I ever worked on was the T1, which had that first boat with F-16 canopy on it. And it was a vast improvement over what was there, but between now and then, I mean, it's night and day what we've come up with. And I was around for a lot of that when we were developing all that stuff, you know, figuring out how to make the roll bar and the canopy and the bottom hatch and all that stuff. We were figuring all that stuff out. Unfortunately, a lot of it was trial and error, and, you know, it's been pretty successful. I mean, there's been a few people hurt, but compared to how it used to be years ago, I mean, we're in a lot better shape than we used to be. I mean, you can't help but be personally involved when you send somebody out in this. They're your friends, you know, and the last thing you want is somebody to get hurt. So you're always striving, trying to learn, trying to improve it. You know, pay attention to other motorsports, learn. You know, you watch airplanes, you look at other motorsports, you learn anywhere you can. Just pick up the knowledge and try to apply it. So he's good. He's got a lot of talent. He's a good starter. He'll listen. You know, him and I, we're just starting to get this deal worked out, and we're gelling as a team. He's going to be good. I mean, I got a lot of confidence in him. He'll do well. Well, generally, I mean, I've done radio with a lot of guys, and you want to keep your talk to as much minimal as you can. You got to tell them what they can't see is going on, you know, maybe into a corner they're about to drive into or what's going on behind them. But really, you got to have confidence in them, let them run their own race. You just got to give them the information that they can't see and keep it to that. Don't talk to them too much. Don't interrupt their concentration. But if you see something coming up, like, you know, next to the corner, they can't see it, you got to let them know. But you got to let them run their own race, too. So, oh, yeah, we've had a lot of fun so far. I mean, I kind of got out of this deal, and this boat was pushed in a corner down in Vegas for a couple of years and sat on tilt and forgot about. I don't know, we did it on a whim about, a week before the Gold Cup race. He bought the thing, and I get this phone call. You want to come run your old boat? And I just, not really, but, well, okay, dusted it off. And I don't think anybody else could have done it. My brother and I went to Vegas, my brother was down in Vegas, dusted it off, and we knew the boat because we'd worked on it so much over the years, and I don't think anybody else would have been able to pull it off. Nobody else knew how it went together like we did. Even though it had been a couple of years since it ran, we got lucky. We did, but we outlived everybody. That's half the deal. First you got to keep them running to win a race, and we out survived everybody that year.